All right, we give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. Let's go to John 5:39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Alahym in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that comes from Alahym only? Do not think that I will accuse you. To Abba there is one that accused you, even Moses, to whom you trust. If I had you believe Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? So let's go back to Daniel chapter 11 and continue. We set the stage. Now we'll start to look at what it is to know your Alahym in order to be strengthened before we even get to the works. Hello, little sugar baby. Daniel 11. What's up, Trina and Brother Jennings? 11 and 32 is sufficient. And it says plainly, and such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt with flatteries, by flatteries. But the people that do know their Alahym shall be strong and do exploits. Now, and notice that he sit back, and there's a key component in what he just stated, that if you don't know your Alahym, then you're going to be corrupted by flatteries. Y'all do know what flatteries is, right? You know what that is? All these grown people in here, don't nobody know what flattery is, or am I just talking to hear myself talk, or am I talking to myself? Yes. So, could somebody let me know what that means, please? What's flattery? No, he said that anybody who don't know their Alahym will be corrupted by flatteries. Flattery is not necessarily kind words. They're the things that puff you up. They're deceitful words. You know what I'm saying? People say a lot of things. Absolutely. So notice that he said so we have to deal with that to be able to even get to the part of knowing your Alahym, because you have to know the difference. So let's go over here to Daniel chapter 8. And again, we still talking about the mystery of Alahym and the mystery of iniquity running together concurrently until we come to the conclusion of them both. Daniel chapter 8, pick it up at verse 22. Now they're being broken, whereas four stood up for it. 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in its power. Sire, don't run around that corner like it's been the time to play. You seen your friends and you were ready to crank up. It's not that time. And in the latter time of their kingdom, hold on. All of y'all need to sit down. Everyone needs to sit down. You need to find yourself somewhere to place your posterior. Yes, sir. What I'm doing is telling you to go over there and sit down. That's what I'm doing. He said, in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressions are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up. What do you think he means when he says, when the transgressors are come to the full? What do you think that could mean? No, he said when the transgressors are come to the full, not transgression. That ain't got nothing to do. Just because they're Gentiles don't make them transgressors. Say when the transgressors are come to the full. Well, say when the transgressors come to the full. Not in that instance. I'll show you what I mean. Hold what you got and come over here to Matthew chapter 24. If something come to the full, that means when the transgressors are come to the full, that means they are complete. So once we look at this this Matthew chapter 24, probably pick it up about verse 10. You're going to swing over here to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, pick it up about verse 12. Make it 24 and 7. Bro, you ain't even crying for real, cuz. You couldn't have went to court and won a case with that face, because they wouldn't have believed you. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then they shall deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Then shall many of you be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. Many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So when you look at this here, right, because lawlessness is going to increase, the transgressors have come to the full, people's heart is going to wax cold. A lot of people use this verse, and they're using this verse as if love is going to wax cold against individuals. Your love is going to wax cold against Alahym, not against people, because you can't love people if you don't love y'all. That's impossible. How do we know this? Let's look and see. Romans chapter 13. Romans 13 and 8. It says, owe no man anything but to love one another. He that love another hath fulfilled Torah. For this, thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Thou shalt not covet. And if there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended in the saying, namely, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Love work no ill to his neighbor, therefore love is fulfilling a Torah. Now, according to Hamashiach, is this the greatest thing in the Torah, or is it the second greatest thing in the Torah? What he just mentioned, that you should love your neighbor as yourself. Second. So what would be the greatest? So before you could even begin to love your neighbor, you would have to love Yah first. So you couldn't even begin to complete that unless you love Yah. So your love is not waxing cold against people. Your love is waxing cold against Yah. You don't love him. So consequently, you're not going to love other people. You know what I'm saying? That's why you see what you see in the earth. You know what I'm saying? I was talking to the brothers about that, where I told you last night. Now, see, I'm going to ask y'all a question, right? Y'all ever read Luke 13 and 1? Y'all know what Luke 13 and 1 say? I'm finna show it to you. Hold on. I'm finna show it to you. Luke 13 and 1. I meant to mention this last night. I mentioned it right now, though. I mentioned this here, right, because you know I seen some brews today, right? They put up their Nipsey Hussle last name, talking about an Ethiopian that meant sent by God. And I'm like, if you niggas thought that man was sent by God, every last one of you ought to go and burn in hell. Every last one of you. Because if he was sent by God, you know the thing he would have been doing? The name of Yah would have been coming out of his mouth continually. You know what I'm saying? That's how dumb niggas is. So he was sent by God to build you up some financial gain. Like me and brother were talking about this here, right? What would you think would happen if all black people got reparations right now and they gave you a land where you could go? What would you think would happen? You say a plum fool? What some of y'all think will happen? Say sin and increase. Anybody else? You're going to be the same wicked bastards you wore for you got the money. You're going to be the same wicked bastards you wore wherever you go. Because you know why you're going to be a wicked bastard? Because you didn't take Yah with you. See, and that's the problem. We so stupid. And I'm mentioning this because if a nigga believed that this man was sent by Yah, what you think gonna go down when the beast come? You know what I'm saying? If niggas like, look at his last name, God telling us he's son. You can't be this stupid. But I'm gonna tell you something, right? We know that man was a sinner, but I want y'all to keep this in mind. Cause you know, you had some bruised that they feelings was hurt because he died. Then you had some like Ephraim, he ain't an Israelite. But I'm gonna tell you just like this here, this Luke 13 and 1. There were present at that season some that told him of the Galileans, whose blood Pilate had mingled with their sacrifices. Yahushua answering said unto them, suppose ye that these Galileans were sinners above all Galileans because they suffered such things? I tell you no. But except you repent, you shall all likewise perish. Or those 18 upon whom the tower in Shalom fell, and slew them, think you that they were sinners above all men that dwelt in Jerusalem? I tell you no. But except you repent, you shall all likewise perish. And that's what you got to keep in mind. You think he was a sinner above all sinners because that happened to him? Oh, no. You don't have your mind right. You going right along with him. But it's sad that individuals really believe this man sent by God. As a matter of fact, I can't even say that. Because I have to ask this one particular question. You know what that question is? Which God you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Which one you talking about? Because you do have one. Let me show you who he is. 2 Corinthians chapter 4. See, this is what everybody's problem is. Because you got to ask, when somebody say, I believe in God, you might have to ask them which one. It's God's or many. 2 Corinthians 4 and 1. Therefore, seeing we have this ministry, and we have received mercy, we faint not. But we have renounced the hidden things of dishonesty, not walking in craftiness or holding the word of Alahym deceitfully. I want y'all to keep that in mind in two situations, because we're going to slice through that real quick, like. But by manifestation of the truth, committing ourselves to every man's conscience in the sight of Alahym. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest this light of the esteemed gospel of Hamashiach, who is the image of Alahym, should shine unto them. That's what you have to sit back and realize. Some people can't see it because they lost, because the God of this world got them blind. What's the things you think the God of this world could blind you with? What you think the stuff is he blinding you with? And if you can answer it by the text, that would be even better. Lizzie, find yourself somewhere to sit, because that's car seat is not the place.
Earthly riches.
You say earthly riches. Anybody else? What's some of the things that he be blinding your mind, blinding people's minds with?
Desires of their heart.
Desires of their heart. Anybody else? Nobody else? That's all you got? Well, let's look at some of the stuff he blinding people's minds with. Let's take a trip to 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1. Eugene, find yourself somewhere to sit down. Yes, that is Nael, and yes, she does have a water bottle, but that doesn't concern you. Good day to you, sir. Good day.
Hey, sit down.
This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unkadash, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of Alahym. So we can sit back and we can begin to see these are things that blind people out around here. See, we had something with coveting, right? So pause. We're going to take a look at coveting. All this is just basing up before we even start talking about what it is to know your Alahym. You'd have to be able to know what's contrary to him to be able to recognize who is who and what is what. Because if this man coming through, and what that was that we was looking at, and they're holding the word in dishonesty. If you don't know the words, you wouldn't know if they were dishonest or not. Which goes back to what we were talking about last night about know the leaven of the scribes and the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. Again, you can't say you understand someone if you don't know them. How can you understand someone you don't know? Then how can you love someone you don't know? It's going to be very difficult for you to do that. You know what I'm saying? This is why one of the reasons Hamashiach told you, if you didn't believe me for my words, believe me for my work's sake, because that was bearing witness for you to know who I am. He said, if you didn't believe me from what I told you, you should have believed me from what you observed me doing. What's that? Jeremiah chapter 22. We can pick it up at verse 9. I'll run all this stuff down. Plastic. Good grief. There we go. Jeremiah 22 and 9. Then they shall answer, because they have forsaken the covenant of Yahuwah Alahym and worshipped other gods and served them. Weep you not for the dead, neither bemoan him, but weep sore for him that go away, for he shall return no more and see his native country. For thus saith Yahuwah touching Shalom, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, which reigned instead of Josiah his father, which went forth out of this place, he shall not return here any more. But he shall die in the place whither they have led him captive, and he shall see this land no more. Woe unto him that build his house by unrighteousness, and his chambers by wrong. See, now let's sit back and look at that, right? That man say, when he say woe, you know what that means, right? Destruction. Now, unfortunately, you see that with a lot of people in a natural sense. Now, I mention this here because of the stupidity of people who say they believe in Yah. Because if you say certain things that's not in line with the text, I can't say you're ignorant, and I can't say you're dumb. I have to say that you're stupid. You know what I'm saying? Because if you think you can build a house by unrighteousness and Yah stamp that, you stupid. You know what I'm saying? You are spiritually inept, because that don't make no sense. You can't be around here and build your house up by sin, and because in man's eyesight you turn over here and do this and think that he stamped that. That's why he say, woe to a man who build his house up by unrighteousness. This is one of the reasons why every kingdom on the earth must be destroyed. You know what I'm saying? It ain't just America. China got to go. Everything in Europe got to go. Everything in quote Central, South America, all that stuff got to go, because every last one of these kingdoms are built upon unrighteousness. So imagine if a man builds his house, meaning his household, his and you built that on unrighteousness. That man said, I got to destroy it. And his chambers by wrong. Now he talking about what he did to us. So you think what he was going to do to us makes people who are not an Israelite exempt from what he talking about?
Nah. Leave alone, Christian.
It does not. It does not. Listen what he said, right? Woe unto him that build his house by unrighteousness and his chambers by wrong, that use his neighbor's service without wages and give him not for his word. See, now pause, right? Y'all know that's in an epistle letter what he talking about, right? Y'all know that? Are y'all familiar with that? Now, what's the issue with what he just said? If anybody knows the law, what's the issue with what he just said? He said, do not use a neighbor's service without wages and not pay him for his work. Y'all should know your law. If you know the law of your God, you should know why he made the statement. Well, come on over here to Leviticus 19 and 13. You know, that stuff happened every day in this country. People who just feel like they could buck you ain't got to pay. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people do it all across the country like shit like this here, man. There's another part of Deuteronomy where he tell you that, hey, man, if you owe the man some money and you didn't pay him and he cried to Yah about it, that's sin unto you. And Yah say, I'm going to come see you. Now, I mentioned this here because look what he said, right? He said, thou shalt not defraud your neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that hires shall not abide with you all night until the morning. You got some people look at it and see they doing us wrong because they pay us every 2 weeks. See, now they're not doing you wrong because they're not breaking the law because you agreed to get paid every 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? See, you could have easily said, no, I want my wages at the end of the day. And they could have easily said, I don't want to pay you your wages at the end of the day. And you didn't have to take that job. Because whether you realize it or not, now some jobs have you sign contracts, but when you fill out a job application and the stuff they have you sign when they give you the job, you have implicitly signed a contract and an agreement with these people. You've agreed to those terms. You know what I'm talking about? Because what you have some companies, depending on who it is, they might. Some people like, I don't like working somewhere, get paid every 2 weeks. I like to get paid every week. You agreeing to that? Now, of course, this was a different time when this was made. That means if somebody worked and you had the money to pay them right then, and you decided to like, hey, I ain't gonna pay you, I'm gonna buck you. Now, you see, you can't do that. Come over here to 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. And from 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, the epistle of James in chapter 5. First Thessalonians chapter 4, I started at verse 1. We throw some extra stuff in there with it. Furthermore, then we beseech you, brethren, exhort you by the Lord Yahushua, that as you have received of us how you ought to walk in the please Alahym, so you would abound more and more. For you know what commandments we gave you by the Lord Yahushua, for this is the will of Alahym, even your sanctification, that you should abstain from fornication, that every one of you should know how to possess his vessel in sanctification and honor, not in the lust of conspicuance, even as the Gentiles, which know not Alahym. So that's a key point when it comes to this here, right? He said Gentiles don't know Alahym. He said that's why they freaky and nasty the way that they is. See, a lot of people like to say, they just ain't white folks, because them African niggas nasty too. You know that junk kid, man, I seen somebody with a white man with a funnel, dropping crabs and shrimp down the black man's throat, talking about this when you encounter crab. If you stupid enough to think that our people ain't start eating crabs to the, what do you call it? The transatlantic slave trade, you stupid. You know what I'm saying? Niggas real stupid if you think that you ain't start eating crabs and shrimp and pork till the 1500s. You know how dumb you got to be to believe that? That white man forced that on us. But nigga, if he was able to put you in slavery, that means clearly, nigga, you niggas was eating a lot of shrimp and a lot of crab long before you ran across him. You know what I'm talking about? Just like I done seen dudes be like, oh, we learned that homosexual stuff from the white man. Come on, bro. But you nigga been punks. Clearly you didn't read about Benjamin and Judges. Clearly you didn't read about it. As if you can't say the black man the first man on earth in every race, then the white man come from them, and then say you learned all iniquity from them. Oh, you's a hypocrite and respect their persons. And you don't know the book. And you don't know human behavior. But you got people who believe that and purport that. And you know why? Because Hebrews don't like accountability. He told you was a stiff-necked people. So you don't want to be held accountable. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be held accountable. That's how I know, the same way all these brews going crazy about Nipsey Hussle, when that word go to dropping and them two witnesses go to dropping, these niggas gonna be out here exchanging gifts, singing and dancing. Boy, I'm glad them niggas dead. That's what they gonna be doing. Y'all do know that what they say, the book say they gonna be doing when them boys die, right? Say them people gonna be dancing in the streets, sending gifts to one another. Them niggas dead. All they were doing was telling you to repent and believe the gospel, and were telling you this old peen head nigga over here was lying. But get what you wanted to do. You wanted to kill him. He making fire come down from heaven. The water's turning to blood. I hate that nigga. He plagues us. Niggas ought to be plagued. Verse 7 though. He said that no man go beyond and defraud his brother in any matter, because that the Lord is an avenger of all such, as we've also forewarned you and testified. For Alahym have not called us unto uncleanness, but unto Kadash. He that therefore despise not man, but Alahym, who have also given unto us his Ruach HaKadosh. So when you defrauding people, especially he just told you right here, do not defraud his brother. So when he say your brother, who is he referring to? Your neighbor. And if he referring to your neighbor, who is he referring to? No, not just your people, but those who do the will of Alahym. You ain't supposed to defraud nobody. But if you defraud somebody who actually served y'all, he definitely say, I'm coming to see you. He coming to see you. Come on over here to, what I said for that? James chapter 5. See, if you know your Alahym, you're going to know this. Because there's a lot of brews say they know they Alahym, but yet they don't operate like that. And it's not even the fact of knowing the law. It's knowing how to conduct yourself. That's not just behavior. Defrauding people. If you defrauding people, guess what that make you? And if that make you a liar, then guess who your daddy is? So that means you really know the devil. That's why I look at all these brews riding that man's sacks because he dead. So your daddy the devil. That's what you're telling me. Because the lust of your father you will do. Because he was a murderer from the beginning and didn't abide in the truth because ain't no truth in him. Because if you have faith, you could be sad, but you'll know he's a sinner. But if I don't repent, I'm a perish. I'm not finna sit here and say he's sent by God. You nigga, you blaspheming. Hold on, let me ask y'all this here. Let me ask y'all since that's in my mind. What does the text say about somebody who's sent by Alahym? What did he say about him? One of the prophets told you, gave you some things about somebody who was sent by Alahym. Now Yahushua said, whosoever believe, whosoever I send, receive who sent me. So if you say that Yahushua sent this man, then you saying this man represent the Father. That's a bold statement. That means he got to line up. He got to match up. But one of the prophets told you about somebody who's sent by Yahuwah. I would say so. Malachi told you about it. He said the priest's lips should keep knowledge, and the people should seek the Torah at his mouth. For he's the messenger of Yahweh. Was anybody around here? Was there knowledge in his lips? And when we talking about knowledge, we talking about the knowledge of Alahym. Was that in his lips? Was he a priest? Come on, man. That's blasphemous. You know what I'm saying? That's blasphemous. All that to justify yourself. That's why he said you are those who justify yourselves before men. But Alahym know your heart, and that which is highly esteemed among men is an abomination before Alahym. Because that's all that's about. That's just trying to justify yourself before men. You know what I'm saying? That's the same reason why people take pictures of themselves feeding the pole, taking videos of themselves feeding the pole, posting it. Even if we wasn't in the word, imagine if you were homeless and the nigga got you all on Facebook giving you a sandwich. You didn't give him permission to put your face out there like that. What if ain't nobody know you was down bad like that and you ain't really care for that, your business to be in the street? You know what I'm saying? Also, this nigga here can get his reward. Look at them brothers out there doing the work. Let me ask y'all a question when it comes to that, right? Anytime a Mashiach did something for somebody, what's the first thing he told them? Don't tell nobody now. Keep that to yourself. Now, whether the people keep it to themselves is a whole nother matter. But if you going live or you taking pictures, we out here feeding the homeless, doing the work. Oh, you did that. You got your reward. You ain't do that for Yahuwah. Because you would have been like this here. Don't tell nobody we out here. You wanted us to know this. Now you got to ask your question. Why did you want me to know that you out here doing that? Why was it important for you that I knew this? We got to let our light shine before men. Your light shine when you did it amongst the people you was in front of. Light shine real good for them. They seen good and bright. A nigga on Facebook didn't need to see it. A nigga on Instagram didn't need to see it. A nigga on YouTube didn't need to see it. If a nigga need to see you feeding the poor and clothing the poor to be inspired to do it, he already got a problem. That's not in his heart to do. How would be inspired to look out for somebody? Boy, I seen them brothers out there feeding the homeless. Boy, that made me want to feed them. Come on, my nigga. You need to check your heart, cuz. That should already been in your heart if you say you're a servant of Alahym. Because at the end of the day, sinners feed people every day. You go to Catholic Charities right now, they pay your light bill. They pass out food. Come on, man. Salvation Army pass out food. Claire White Mission be out there getting them boy food every day. Nevertheless, I already told you about that. I already know them people don't care nothing about them people. 5-1, Pistol of James. Go to now, you rich men, and weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. You shall eat your flesh as it were fire. You have reaped treasure together for the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers who reap down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, cry, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of the Shabbat. He said, oh no, you've been defrauding people. See, come back to Jeremiah 22. Now, when you look at what's in Jeremiah 22, when he talking about defrauding, he was talking about you defrauding your own people. This ain't about no white people defrauding you. Because white people will defraud you, but a nigga defraud you quick, fast, and in a hurry too. See, defrauding and evil hearts and covenants don't know no color line. That's the heart of the man. Ain't got nothing to do with what nationality he come from. That's the heart of the individual. You have to look at what's in your heart and why is it there. You know what I'm saying? And then you have to ask yourself this one strong question. How long do you want it to be there? Do you want it gone? And then what you willing to do to eliminate it. And all you got to do is renew your mind and don't conform yourself to the ways of the world. You know what I'm saying? That's really all it is. Give yourself a new mind. You can't keep thinking the same way and be the same old person you always been. You're going to keep on getting the same crap you always got. You're going to find yourself in the same situations. Like I told you before, man. Smoker told us that a long time ago. If you keep having the same life experiences over and over again, you ain't learning nothing. Them wasted life experiences. It's all right to make a mistake, but you shouldn't be going through the same stuff over and over and over again. That means you're making the same choice over and over and over again. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you didn't learn from when you went through that situation the first time. You know what I'm saying? That ain't that junk where niggas be talking about the universe to teach you till you get it right. No, you just getting a cycle of bad decisions. If you ever notice when you make the same bad choices, you seem to be faced with them situations over and over and over again. That's not no universe. That's not no karma. That's the byproduct of choices. It's unfortunate for you. Jeremiah 22. and 13. He said, woe unto him that build his house by unrighteousness and his chambers by wrong, that use his neighbor's service without wages and give him not for his word. Then say, I will build me a wide house and large chambers and cut him out windows and is sealed with cedar and painted with vermilion. He said, I'm a ball with your money too. Shall you reign because you clothe yourself in cedar? Did not your fathers eat and drink and do judgment and justice? Then it was well with them. Hold on now. Now who is he talking about? He said, did not your fathers eat and drink and do judgment and justice? And it was well with them? Who he talking about? He talking about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We don't have the time right now. But we definitely, can we not go look? Didn't he say in Genesis 18, he said, I know Abraham. He'll teach his household what? Justice and judgment in the way of you. He knowed it. And when you turn around and look at Isaac, did he not move with justice? And you see him eating and drinking every time too. He was eating and drinking when he blessed Jacob and Esau, wasn't it? He had did justice and judgment before he left here. Abraham sat down and ate when Isaac was born. He did justice and judgment. And we can definitely see when Jacob said, give me my wives. And they had a feast. We know Jacob did justice and judgment, irregardless of what anybody want to paint him as. But that's what they did. And it was well with them. So if you want things to go well with you, that's all you got to do is do what's right and execute proper judgment. That's it. It's not difficult. He said he judged the cause of the poor and needy. When you talking about poor and needy to somebody who's humble and afflicted. And it was well with him. Was this not to know me, saith Yahuwah? Now, when we sit back and we look at saith, the first thing that you want to look at, the word is na'um. You have, it means utterance or declaration or revelation. You have a noon, aleph, and meme. Go ahead and take your time. Let me know what you got for that. Noon, aleph, and meme. It's a declaration. Revelation, if you will. Because he said to do justice and judgment and to relieve the needy and the oppressed. That's what it was to know him. So to deliver those who are in violence. Those who being oppressed and afflicted. He said that's what it is to know me. It's the word. It's just for saith. When he say saith Yahuwah, that come behind that. We're going to get to something in verse 17 in a minute. Verse 17 will kind of solidify what's in that. I'll go ahead and read you verse 17. He said, but your eyes and your heart are not but for your covetousness, and for to shed innocent blood, and for oppression, and for violence to do it. So the first thing that we could see, because we're dealing with the opposite of not knowing Alahym. If you're not an individual who wants to deliver people who owe, and this is why individuals see the things that say, well, look what Nipsey Hussle was doing. He was delivering the oppressed. But was he judging for the poor and needy? Probably not. Not according to the word. You know what I'm saying? You have to separate natural from what's in heaven. When you look at natural, You say, that's a good word. When you look at, I put it to you this way. Y'all say he reward the good and the evil, don't he? So you could do a good work and be a sinner, and Yah will bless you for it, and you'll still go to hell. You know what I'm saying? See, most people are told, right, if you do a lot of good stuff for people, you'll get saved, right? It's not how it works. It's not how it works. You can do a lot of good stuff for people and still go to hell. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because without faith, it's impossible to please him. Because you have to believe and know that he is a rewarder of those that diligently seek him. So just because you fed somebody or clothed somebody or came up with some programs, but you don't believe in Yah, and then you're not diligently seeking after him, then you can't please him. Why you can't please him? Because when you get faced with a temptation or a tribulation, remember what we read with the parable of the sower? By and by, you're going to be offended. Because you ain't going to have no root in yourself. Your faith is the root, what allows you to endure the tribulation. You know what I'm saying? And see, most people sitting in their room ain't endured no much tribulation in the text that wasn't, and since you've been in the word, that wasn't of your own crafting. You know what I'm saying? See, it's not tribulation or Alahym if what you went through was from your own crafting. Because then that means you put yourself in that situation and circumstance. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the suffering and tribulation that Yahushua took on, that wasn't based off anything that he did. When you look at what Joseph went through, that wasn't based off anything that he did. When you look at Jeremiah, that wasn't off anything that he did. When you look at Job, it wasn't off of anything that he did. When you look at what Paul went through, it wasn't based off anything that he did. They just stood for the word. Tribulation came. Will you endure? If you don't have no faith, you're not going to endure. You know what I'm saying? Remember what we talked about in the past where it said they kept the law but not with a perfect heart. When your heart is not complete towards y'all, when that stuff comes, you're going to fold. That's why you got to make sure your heart's complete first. The law come easy after that. But if your heart's not complete, it's going to be difficult for you to maintain to the Torah. And as I told you before, the word of Alahym is not a book of social activism. It's the word of salvation. If you choose to do those things, blessed be you, and may y'all look upon it and increase it. Because we were talking about it earlier. He was like, well, my brother, like, well, what you doing in the community? I'm preaching the word of Yahuwah that people might be saved. That's all it is, that you talk. Okay, I hear you. Well, you're going to talk your way to hell, and y'all forbid I see you there. Hopefully, I'll be the one to throw you in there since that's how you feel. Now, you take it like that and put that in your pipe and smoke it. You know what I'm saying? Because if I got all this natural stuff over here, like put it this way, man. The book of Proverbs say he that wins souls is wise. But like I told you before, we think we can win souls with material things and things of the earth. You can't win somebody with death for life. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to use death to win people to life. The only death you need to win people to life is the death and the resurrection of Yahushua HaMashiach. That's sufficient. You know what I'm saying? If I got to give you a job to get you to believe in Yahuwah, you don't believe in him no way. You know what I'm saying? If I got to buy back the block to get you to believe in Yahuwah, or come up with a community center, or build a hospital for you to believe in Yahuwah, you don't believe in him no way. And you know what ends up happening that? And through all that, Yahuwah does not get the esteem, the praise, and the honor through any of that. That man who did it will get it. That's why people don't like the gospel. That's why people don't like the sufferings of Mashiach, because you have to give honor and esteem to Alahym. It's got to go to him. You can't bring any of it to yourself. And that's what individuals want. They want the focus and praise to be on them. And that's what the beast is coming to do, to get the focus and praise to be on him, because he's going to take that same word and he's going to hold it in dishonesty to deceive you with it. So if the beast come through talking the word and go to building all that stuff and doing all that stuff, they're going to be deceived and they're going to go for it. And they don't even know it. And they're going to kill the people and persecute the people who say contrary to what they got going on. And that's what we're trying to avoid. Because as Yahushua said, we done told you before. So when you encounter it, you ought to know what to do. But what y'all came up for that noon Aleph and me as you fourth is looking at a revelation. All right, now getting fresh over there, Mordecai. Getting fresh. Now, how you went from that all that crying to that right there? See how you change? That's how you change. You're a phony. You're a fraud. A charlatan. Yes. And what I'm doing is I'm telling you to go over there and sit down. That's what I'm doing. Thank you. What y'all got for me over there with that though? Anybody got anything for that noon, Alahym meme? For noon, or saith, which is a revelation, a declaration, or an utterance. And the reason why I'm focused on that word, because he uttered the things that you should be doing to know him. Alahym meme.
I'll probably use the sun for that.
Say you use son. Marv, you don't find yourself somewhere to sit down. This is not a romper's room. You don't have any business to attend to in that kitchen. No. See, you're not going to come around the corner looking sad, looking for sympathy. Now find yourself somewhere to sit down.
You sit down, man.
You think someone sincerely cares about your phony tears and your desire to do what you want to do? Do you think anyone cares? No, you don't. You don't want to tell me anything. Because you wasn't thinking about telling me nothing. You're not going to deceive me this evening. And your incessant tears definitely don't deceive me. Silence.
What was that last one you said?
Mean.
Me?
Cry on the inside, son. Cry on the inside. On the inside. But depart to her then. Say that again for me. What you say for me, man? All right. Anybody else? I definitely say the Son, and you can sit back and look at it how the Son's blood is everlasting life. Oh, shoot, that's what I thought. Shoot, head, shoot, either way it goes, it's all the same for me.
That's why, because it was like, one mean father, one mean son, and it's like, the mem is in there.
I mean, you got men for blood at noon, so I don't know where you get that from.
It's a mem and the olive and the
Yeah, so I use a little life on that noon, use a little blood for that mem. I can say ox, and I'm going to say ox and just say the Son. And there it is. Only reason, because if I imply ox or leader, I'm implying the Son, so.
Nah, it just seemed like it was weird. That's why you use the same ones for two. Yeah, that jump definitely sound like the same. It's
what?
like you use noon or you use olive. It's like father's life, son's life.
But that's the point, that his word is life, and that's the revelation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And what was the revelation throughout the whole text? Testimony of Yahushua is the Ruach of prophecy, and what was being testified of, that he would suffer. And he said if you would deliver the poor and needy from judgment, then you would know that that's what that is to know me, because they're being afflicted and they're being oppressed and they're suffering for the word's sake. But notice what he said, their eyes and their hearts were but for their covenants to shed innocent blood. So let's look and see. John 11:45. Bro, nobody cares. We're tired of hearing it. We're tired. Care about you, what you want to do. Get over it. It's life. Like somebody care about what you want to do.
You must want something to cry about.
You don't want your mommy lying on her.
You should have ate. Now you gotta wait. Be quiet. Be quiet.
You don't want your mother, because you just said that and you ain't even go nowhere near. And she got all that love for you and you faint in love. She don't appreciate it. She don't appreciate it at all. John 11:45. Then many of the Yahudim which came to Mary and had seen the things which Yahushua did believed on him. But some of them went their ways to the Pharisees and told them what things Yahushua had done. Then gathered the chief priests and Pharisees a council and said, what do we? For this man do many miracles. And if we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him. And the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation. See, they were ready to shed that innocent blood because all they wanted to do was covet. What was they coveting? They were coveting this spot. Remember what Pilate said? Pilate said, I know what you delivered him for. And what was that for? What did Pilate say he knew why they delivered Yahusha to him?
I thought it was because he was scared. He was jealous of it.
He said because of envy. That's what he said. He said he knew for envy they had delivered him, right? Let's come over here to Ephesians 5 real quick. See, the first thing that we're looking at, remember the law tell you not to covet. Usually when you covet, you don't covet. See, people don't covet what people have out of jealousy. They covet what people have out of envy. You know what I'm saying? Like, was Saul jealous of David, or was he envious of David? He was envious of David, because what did Saul say out of his mouth? You know what he said. What your man used to pop off. Remember what your man used to say? By the two. That's what he was worried about. That was envy. You know what I'm saying?
What's jealousy then?
Jealousy is more so that you want to be like someone versus wanting what they have. No, they seem to be similar, but they different. No, they're actually not. Because you could be envious of someone and not be jealous of them.
I thought like.
Well, envy is I want what you have. Jealous is I just don't really like it.
No, jealousy is I want to be you. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I guess so. Because I'm thinking like how females be jealous. I don't feel like they want to be the other female.
Oh, if a woman's jealous of another woman, you'll notice that she'll be copying her. She might copy her hairstyles, copy her style of dress. You know what I'm saying? See, envious is more along of hating because you coveting what they have. And you want to take what they have. You don't want to be them, you just want what they have. You know what I'm saying? That's more so like when a woman try to sleep with another woman's man. She's not jealous of that woman. She's just envious. And I just want your man because I feel like that'll hurt you. I want to take your spot. You know what I'm saying? Or not even take your spot, just take what you got. Because you have a lot of women that'll sleep with somebody and then cast him to the side because it was never about that in the first place. You know what I'm saying? That's why he mentioned, I know you delivered him for envy. Because what did the scribes envy? They wanted the people to listen to them like they were listening to Yahusha. They wanted the people to follow them. They wanted to do what Yahusha was doing, but they didn't want to be him, though. You know what I'm saying? I can see how, like I said, it took me actually looking up the words years back to see that they're a tad bit different. Because you could be jealous of someone but not covet what they have. You know what I'm saying? Kind of truth be told, where people be always talking about goals and all this and posting other people, that's a dangerous line of being covetous and envious. That's a dangerous line of towing that. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't mean that you, because you say that you are, but for some people, where their hearts and their minds at, you towing a dangerous line of crossing over on the wrong side. You know what I'm saying? Because then you begin to start envying because see, when you coveting what somebody got, you'll kill them for it. See, it's different if you see a nigga be like, boy, there's some nice shoes. Versus, there's some nice shoes.
Like envy, you'll kill a nigga by envy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see what they did to the Lord. They killed it. I've seen you with that jacket on numerous occasions, but I appreciate you showing it to me again. You look quite dapper, sir. Good day to you.
Sit down.
What I say about going at? Yeah, 5. Five and 1. He said, be ye therefore followers of Alahym as dear children and walk in love, as the Mashiach also loved us and has given himself for us an offering and a sacrifice to Alahym for a sweet smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as become kased. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. For this you know, that no whoremonger, nor unclean person, nor covetous man who is an idolater, have any inheritance in the kingdom of Mashiach and of Alahym. Let no man deceive you with vain words, because of these things the wrath of Alahym come upon the children of disobedience. Be not you partakers with them. For you were sometimes darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of the light. For the fruit of the Ruach is in all goodness and righteousness and truth, proving what is acceptable unto the Lord, and have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. Now, what you seen? What did he say a covetous man was akin to? An idolater. You know what I'm saying? And our law tell you what? Not to covet. What did Paul say? I would not have known lust, lest the law said you should not covet. Which is what happened in the garden. They wouldn't have known what lust was until they ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So the problem come in that is, when you envious, you lust. That's why he told you, don't cover your neighbor's what? Wife, ass, servants, neighbor. You know what I'm saying? Any of these things, because you'll kill them for it. And put it this way, your forefathers, two of them, Abraham and Isaac. What did they come across when they came to their spouses as it relates to envy or covetousness? They came across a situation where they were concerned about individuals coveting their wife. And what happened?
Oh, you talking about when Abraham
And Isaac.
Yeah, when they went to Egypt, because they thought they were gonna kill him.
They thought they was gonna kill him for his wife. Why? Because they would have saw him and they would have became envious and coveted what he had and killed him for it. This is the reason why, when you know your Alahym, you understand this, why he tell you not to covet. Because now you become envious and you want what they have. And when you want what they have, you will not stop at any means to get it. Which now whatever you lusting after has become your God, and this is now your idol, because now this is what you worship or you bow down or you reverence. Whatever it is that you desiring. As the fourth is coveting. And you have to be careful what you covet after. You know what I'm saying? Because it gets you in trouble. And what did it say? Your heart is but for your covenants, therefore you shed innocent blood. And what did they do? They shed that man's innocent blood. Because they didn't know their Alahym. He said in John 17, Kadash, Father, that they have not known you. Because if they would have known you, then they would have stood up on Yahushua's behalf. It wouldn't even got that far to crucifixion, to be told. But they would have stood up on his behalf and judged properly. You know, only person who stood up to judge, to deliver the poor and needy, it was Pilate. That's the saddest part of the play. It was a Gentile who stood up to want to execute judgment for the poor and needy. Because he knew y'all were oppressing him and dealing with him in a violent fashion. And what did they say? We got a Torah. Our Torah say we can't kill him. Your Torah also said you ain't had no business bringing him up there in the first place, but you did it. Because you didn't know your Alahym. You know what I'm saying? Now, we finna get ready to conclude. But the key point where I was going to deal with, we're handling the word of dishonesty. And we'll continue on with the Daniel 8 and all that, most high willing, tomorrow. Question is this. The tree of knowledge of good and evil. Did that serpent in the garden, did he know that was the Torah? If no, explain. If yes, explain.
Oh, yeah.
Explain.
He said they'll make you wise.
Explain.
They'll make you like a king.
He said that. No, you said yes. I'll ask you. Explain.
Oh, I said yes because he knew that it would make them wise. When she said he told her it'll make her wise, she knew that if the servant knew that was the tree of knowledge of good and evil, because she knew that he said it'll make you like Alahym.
I said things. Anybody else got a yes or no? And you have to explain. That is correct. Well, go ahead, Nisha.
I was gonna say that because he knew that once you know the law, you are subject to death if you don't follow the law.
Does anybody else have an answer for that?
I say yes.
Why so? Explain.
Well, I say yes because, I mean, also, I ain't gonna say this in the garden based off of what they said, but also with Job and with Yahushua, he knew how to play. He knew what he already knew to play. He knew what the word and all of that, so it's easy for him to set them up because he know how they go back.
Then I say because he lied. He was true. I feel like he had it.
Does anybody feel like he didn't know? All of the things that you say are correct because you got to base it off what the text said. Just she said she went further with his interaction with two other people after the fact. You know what I'm saying?
The only way they was going to die is
If you know it.
yeah.
So once he opened his mouth and said, you'll be as, because y'all didn't tell her that.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
That's why when I say her, I'm referring to Adam. You know what I'm saying? He didn't tell him that. So when he said that, he knew full well what that was over there. Now you got to remember, what did the law say? Both of them trees were what?
Good.
Good for food. So we know that again, because we have to reiterate that for people who don't pay attention and hear what they want to hear. That's not to say that the law is bad. The law itself said this is good for food now. It's good for your soul. You can eat it. It's good for you now. You're going to die, but it's good for you. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't meant to keep you alive forever. See, you have to look at that. Just because it wasn't
Trees they was already
eaten from. It didn't mention what those trees were or what their purpose was. But they were good. They weren't gonna keep. It wasn't but one tree gonna keep you alive forever, because that's the purpose that tree served. That tree of knowledge of good and evil is good, and it served a good purpose. It just didn't serve the purpose of everlasting life. So you have to be able to understand that and know that. But when he told them that, he was handling the word of dishonesty and craftiness when he did that. You know what I'm saying? He knew full well he was handling the word wrong when he did it. Which takes into account when she mentioned what he said to Yahushua more specifically, because he was handling it with dishonesty and craftiness then. You know what I'm talking about? So when we mentioned how the beasts have indignation against the Kadash covenant and this, that, there, and the third, he gonna come back around with the same word and hold it in dishonesty and craftiness to deceive you with it. The only way that can't happen is if you know your Alahym. If you don't know your Alahym, then he gonna get you. It's not and like I said last night, it's not a matter of if, it's when. You know what I'm saying? It's when. But hallelujah for Yahushua. We start right there. Most High willing, we'll pick it up again tomorrow, 7:30. Bless everybody out the house. Y'all name of Yahushua. Appreciate y'all. We ain't got no extra time with it, man. They gonna go ahead and eat, and most High willing, 7:30 tomorrow. We'll do it again.